been about 3 weeks since my last video, and I hope that all of you are navigating as best as you can in this crisis and this devastating situation. The realm of suffering in these past few weeks has been disproportional, and the loss of so many lives, the tremendous suffering of those who are infected with the virus, the grief of the people who have lost loved ones, the humongous efforts being made on the part of the doctors, the nurses, and the hospital staff in hospitals all around the world, the difficulties and discomforts of living in isolation, in quarantine for so many weeks, and of course the devastating blow to the world economic system. It seems to me that humanity cannot continue down the same road that we've been traveling on all these years, all these decades, all these centuries. When there is an urgency for change, sometimes coming from within the individual or humanity themselves, or at other times change being impulsed by the earth, the planet, or other forces, what tends to happen is our realm, the space we live in, and all the other factors of life begin to condense, minimalize, intensify, resembling sort of an arrow, getting to the point where it's less and less, everything's reduced. And I think right now we are right at this point, the point where everything has gone as condensed and condensed as possible. What happens at this particular moment here is if there is enough goodwill, enough people who have been dreaming and praying and working towards something new, this particular configuration can flip over. And from here, we have expansion. We have a new road. And perhaps even we have a new world. I believe that this is the precise moment that we are living right now. At this time of year, there are two themes that are clearly in the air. One is that of springtime, and the other is that of Easter week. We find ourselves this week in Easter week. This year, nature, like every other year, the flowers are blooming, the birds are returning, the earth is awakening after a long sleep in the winter months. But this particular year, nature is celebrating more than usual because there's an extraordinary situation that she's undergoing. And this, of course, is tied into after effects and side effects of the coronavirus. There's an unexpected phenomena that the earth is in a moment of purification, regeneration, and relax. In the first 3 months of the year 2020, there have been 67 million fewer people on airlines taking international or national airline flights. In the month of April, the airline industry is practically at a hold, at a standstill. I've seen one airplane in the last 3 weeks, one commercial airplane going across the skies. Nothing else. Of course, this is a devastating blow to the airline industry and all of those who are employed by it, and the tourist industry. But on the other hand, nature is benefiting from this. The global reduction in air, land, and sea travel is producing a significantly less amount of carbon emissions in the environment. The noises that are produced by cruise liners and ships and cargo ships and other kinds of motorboats have been proven to cause a high level of stress in marine life, in whales, in dolphins. And it's also been proven that this high level of stress can interfere with and repress their reproductive success, their success at reproducing the species. It's said by some of the marine biologists in the area of Alaska that this is going to be one of the quietest entrances to southeastern Alaska that the humpback whales will be experiencing since decades. People in Vancouver are saying that for the first time in decades also, they're seeing the majestic orca whale. That has not been seen in that area of Vancouver since decades. Another important factor that is benefiting nature and wildlife especially is that since the outbreak of the coronavirus, the billion-dollar illegal wildlife trade is under serious scrutiny. Some of you may not know that there are wildlife markets in China, in places in Africa, in places all around the world that capture and transport in tiny little cages unique species of animal wildlife for sale, for different medicinal purposes, for certain food products, for their fur. In fact, dolphins. One of the products that are sold on this market are dolphin fins. So this market is being scrutinized right now because there is a general belief that perhaps the virus came from a market in China, and that was the origin of this. So they're saying that these markets are just a breeding ground for possible disease. The Chinese government has actually temporarily ceased all sales and imports of wild animals at this time. And they will be organizing, and the government will be talking about what their plans are for the future. So clearly, the earth, the air, the waters, the land, the flora, the fauna are all in a moment of celebration, renewal, and purification. It's their moment. As we retreat, they can come out and blossom right now like never before. So perhaps now is a good time to reconsider the fact that we, human beings, are just one more species that inhabit this beautiful blue and green planet that we all call home. That we put ourselves back into the family of all living creatures on this earth. That we are no better than any of them. That we're all in this together. And by putting ourselves back into the category of being just one more species on planet Earth, we can reconnect with this moment that she's undergoing. We can reconnect with this feeling of expansion and relief and purification as the plants and the animals breathe cleaner air and drink cleaner water. So I suggest that during this week and during this particular springtime, we hold the intention to put ourselves back in that position and reconnect as the planet undergoes, for whatever time it lasts, this wonderful period of regeneration and renewal. We are on her. It's like riding the waves with her, riding and connecting with this process as she undergoes it, and taking our place once again as another species, just one other species, living on her body. So if you are in an apartment in a city, I would suggest maybe that you just take your house plants as a representation, a symbolic representation of Mother Earth, and give them special attention this week. Like, love them, communicate with them, hold them in their little pots next to your heart, feel them. Use them as the representation of Mother Earth, as your vehicle to connect with Mother Earth in this process. If you don't have houseplants, perhaps you could look for videos or documentaries on the internet that show nature and wildlife and different natural settings, and through the videos, hold your intention to reconnect with the earth at this time and celebrate with her. Celebrate this glorious moment that she has so long waited for and that she certainly deserves. factor at this time that's clearly a theme is that the fact that we are right now in Easter week. And so the theme of death and rebirth, or transformation and renewal, is certainly a theme in the air right now. And now this doesn't mean that you have to be Catholic or Protestant or Christian to connect with this theme, to connect with this impulse and energy. You can connect with it without the Catholic or the Christian implication. There are billions of people all around the planet at this time that have in their mind that from Friday, like from Holy Friday to Easter Sunday, something, or Christ, the death of Christ and the resurrection of Christ. Symbolically, this means that these are 3 days that if we connect and intend to put our personal intention into this, we can also undergo a personal death and transformation, a personal releasing and renewal, so that on Sunday, Easter Sunday, something beautiful can blossom within us. So I strongly urge you to make an intention, to connect, to be aware that this is an opportunity also to use this time to go deeper and create change, deep inner change within yourself. So basically, we have been on a retreat all of these weeks of isolation. And actually, it's kind of ironic that it happens to be during the time of Lent. During this time, clearly, all of the excess factors in our lives, all of the distractions have been just wiped away in one clear sweep. Everything's been eliminated. We've been reduced to living in a kind of a state of minimal conditions. As I mentioned in the last video, this can be a time of silence and emptiness if we allow it. All of the spiritual and religious leaders from every culture across the planet, I'm referring to Buddha, Krishna, Mohammed, Moses, saints, Sufis, lamas, shamans, all of these beings have undergone a certain period of time in isolation in order to achieve enlightenment or illumination. They have sought out the wilderness, the deserts, the caves, the mountaintops, as places where they can, being alone, in silence, apart from the hustle and bustle of the everyday world, where they can connect with the deities that they believe in and ask to receive guidance for their lives and healing for their souls. We might imagine these beings sitting out in nature with the birds chirping and the scent of nature surrounding them and the cool breeze blowing as they chant their mantras or as they pray their prayers. But I am sure that this was not exactly the case. The Bible talks about Jesus' 40 days and nights in the desert, the temptations he was confronted with, the shadows and the traps that he fought and overcame in order to reach the necessary state of being to allow him to fulfill his life plan. The Buddhist gurus go for 3 years into isolation to work specifically on mastering their mind, overcoming their dark shadows, overcoming their ego, overcoming the chatter that's constantly going on non-stop in their brains. So no, I'm certain that these retreats were by no stretch of the imagination a picnic for any of these individuals. So too for us at this time of isolation. We are being confronted with our own shadows, existential fears for survival, anger and rage at supposed conspiration theories, frustration at the inadequacy of certain politicians, suffering of the loss of loved ones, and perhaps even impatience or intolerance for the loved ones with whom we reside at this time and are sharing a small living space. All of those years of keeping busy day and night, have perhaps left us with an accumulation of pending personal business that needs to be attended. Some of these issues might be surfacing at these times due to the unusual circumstances that we find ourselves in. So I urge all of you to connect with Good Friday until Easter Sunday and apply your personal development, these issues that might be surfacing, these aspects of yourself that are needing to be attended in order to allow you to continue to evolve. Put these on the table. Hold these as the intentions of, from Friday to Sunday, healing, releasing, letting go. So on Sunday, something beautiful can happen within you. Something can blossom, something can change. So if there are specific themes that you're dealing with, focus on those. Hold those as your specific intention for those 3 days. And if no particular themes occur to you, if you don't really have a particular theme or you're not really sure what to ask for or what to intend, just hold a general intention that old, outdated, useless aspects of your being that you have outgrown, aspects of your personality that no longer serve you, you're no longer that person, that these aspects of you undergo a transformation, a healing, a release, so that on Sunday, on Easter Sunday, something within you can be reborn, can be regenerated and renewed. So, of course, how does one do this? It really depends. There are different situations that we're all in right now. If you find yourself in a situation where you are living alone, you're not sharing your space with anyone, of course, you have the benefit and the luxury of meditating, putting candles, doing your own prayers, sitting in quiet, and delving deep into your own personal cave of transformation. But of course, many of us are not living alone. Many of us perhaps have roommates that we're sharing the space with, or spouses, or children, and that's really not possible to take your own private section of the house with everyone else doing their things, their daily activities. So if that's your situation, I would suggest that during the late night hours, just before falling asleep, when everything is quiet and still, when the house is dark, the lights are off, everyone else is in bed and sleeping, or trying to sleep, that you take that moment and mentally place your intention, place your intent, say your prayer, declare your intention to connect with the power and the regeneration of springtime, and also to connect with the process of symbolic death and rebirth from Friday to Sunday of this Easter week. Another factor that might not be very pleasant to hear, but I would strongly, strongly encourage you during Friday to Sunday, disconnect, or at least minimize your use of your WhatsApp and your Facebooks and your Twitters and your Instagrams. Just stay away from it for 3 days. Give yourself that break, so that some other energies can be around you, so you don't have distractions, so you don't run the risk of getting caught up in somebody else's drama or getting pulled off your intention or pulled off track. Just try to minimize or even just stay away for a couple of days from all of that world. Now, many cultures, native and religious cultures, believe that there's no way to reach Heavenly Father unless you go through Mother Earth. This means basically that you can't just go running up and after and with the intentions to to connect directly with the divine light of Heavenly Father. What is necessary first for that to happen is we must heal and release all of the density that we have accumulated on our earthly journey. This is just everyday emotions and anger and jealousies and competition and sufferings and negativity. All of this stuff creates a density that even if we could possibly reach the realm of the Heavenly Father's light, it would not be able to enter us. The high vibration can't enter into a density that we are carrying in our bodies. Just as mothers absorb the pain, the suffering, and the wounds of their children, so does Mother Earth absorb our wounds and our sufferings. So I would like to now lead all of you in a very short meditation with the intention of releasing some of the densities that we're carrying, that we've been carrying for years, for decades, and perhaps all of our lives, in preparation for the opportunities of this week to connect with the springtime and to connect with the process of transformation and renewal this Easter week, Easter Sunday, so that perhaps the higher light, the divine light, the holy light can begin to enter in all of us to raise our vibration and to enhance the level of our perception. So I'd like to just mention something, because after the meditation I'm going to close this video, close this session. So beforehand, I'd just like to mention that after the video, I'm going to share a little recording that's just a few minutes long to end the video, to end this presentation. So the land that I live on has a kind of a big pond, and it's filled with frogs and toads. So the other night I went out and I tried to ask them if I can make a recording. If I can make a recording, they're right now in the midst of the mating season, and I thought perhaps I could make a recording of them, asking them to transmit their message on behalf of Mother Earth to all of you. In a way, kind of asking them to grant us their blessing, so that we can also undergo our changes and receive a message and a blessing from them. So in ancient cultures, the frogs were a symbol of rebirth and fertility, renewal. The frogs are thought to be the ones that, with their song, call the rains in. So they're also thought to have powers of purification. So at the end of the meditation, I'm going to add their response, their blessing to all of you on behalf of Mother Earth. So at the end, I urge you to just try and connect with it vibrationally, or however you feel appropriate. So I'd like to ask you all now to find a comfortable position. Maybe you'd like to begin to close your eyes, stretch if your body needs to stretch a little bit beforehand, and just find yourself in a comfortable position. Take a few deep breaths, in and out, and sink deep within this present moment. Sink into the deep and the depth within the space that you are occupying. And navigate deeply within your own being and your own individual biorhythms. In this moment, there's nothing reclaiming your attention. Nothing to do, no place to be. you begin to feel as if you were floating. Let go. Release yourself into this feeling of lightness, lightness of being. Now begin to imagine that you're sitting in a natural place. This could be a forest, a desert, a beach, an open field or meadow, whatever feels most comfortable and familiar to you. It could be the early morning hours or dusk, evening, whatever time of day feels right. Use all of your senses to create this special place. Notice the smells and the sounds, the type of lighting in this place. Allow yourself to be enveloped in a gentle breeze that carries the smell of flowers or the sea or nature. And in this moment, you reactivate your connection to Mother Earth. You sense how she has been patiently waiting for you to return to her. And you surrender to her as you surrender to your mother's tender embrace. It is as if all of her attention is with you right now. And in this moment, you ask and you pray to her for forgiveness. In the name of all of humanity, of all of the errors we have made, the destruction and the negligence, all the ways that we have strayed away from her. Of course, she is our mother, and she forgives us. And she still loves us. So deep within you now, you begin to feel the old and outdated, heavy, negative, and dense aspects of your being and your personality that are ready and preparing to be released over the next few days, and have actually been waiting for the opportunity to do so. On the count of 3, we ask that the gravitational force of Mother Earth extract from you, through your first chakra and through your feet chakras if you are sitting, all of this old stagnant energy from every layer and the very depth of your being. Be still. Connect with your breathing and let go. One, 2, 3. Feel how all this old stuff is being released here and now, flowing out of you and down into the earth to be transmuted. Old inherited ancestral traumas of suffering and limitation are also being released at this moment. Just stay with the process for a few minutes. If there's any area of your body that needs special attention, focus on that area and allow it to open and release whatever has been contained there for all these years. Surrender. Open the depths of your being, the depths of your heart, where all the old wounds reside. Open up the rigid aspects of your mind to let new energy and new ideas enter. Just let go of everything that no longer serves you, that holds you back in your process of evolution. And you begin to notice now a deep sense of relief in your entire body. There's empty space for something new. You notice that your lungs are taking in more air. Your mind is fresh and clear like a mountain lake. Your organs are shining and have space all around them, enabling them to relax. In this moment, you begin the process of connecting with the light of Heavenly Father, the highest and most light available to human beings. This light that comes to you from the farthest reaches of outer space, beyond the stars, enters your crown chakra and flows down, transforming and blessing every cell, every atom, your organs, the muscles of your body. It raises the level of your vibration and opens and enhances your perception. This light, this holy, sacred light of Heavenly Father, will continue to flow within you for the next few days, leading up to Easter Sunday, when the process will be complete. And something lovely blossoms within you.